served in the military after high school from 1976 to 1979 in Germany as a military policeman. Then I got out of the Army and went to college, got my degree, got hired at Lake Central as a history teacher. And I believe it was in my 25th or 26th year during 9/11, I tried to get back in, but they told me I was in my 40s, they told me I was too old. And I fought them for 4 or 5 years, and finally in 2005 they allowed me back in, but in the Indiana National Guard. We immediately started preparing to deploy, and I volunteered to go to Katrina with the 38th Military Police Platoon, and I went there and served. Then when I came back, we went to Afghanistan. We went to Afghanistan for a year from January of '06 to January of '07, and that was my time in the military. In the classroom, you know, the teachers will put on the board like the dates, remember this. It's not that. And that's why young people come into a classroom and they're like, oh, well, this is gonna be boring. I see history as a story. This collection encompasses everything that I can possibly find that's military, that's really relevant to the different wars. It goes from the Revolution all the way to the present. So my job as a teacher, and through this stuff helps me, enables me to speak to them that it's a story, an incredible story, an interesting story. One that I found very interesting, I've got one guy, he had no thumbs, and they wouldn't let him in the U.S. military, but they let him in the ambulance corps, and he went over there and served. He served for a long time in France, and then once the American military came over in 1917, they allowed him to join the U.S. military with no thumbs. And he's buried in an unmarked grave in St. Augustine, Florida, and we're trying desperately to get him a military headstone. People that surround us, just you think are ordinary people, common people, they went off and endured, you know, weeks and months and years of suffering for this country. They were away from their families. And that's what I hope people take away, that they see that there's been sacrifices before them to give them what they have today. I think it's very important for us to look back in history where we've come from in order to see where we're going in the future and the great sacrifices these individuals have made for our country. And by keeping these items and teaching the history, the letters I have are incredible. They reveal what their thoughts were about this country and about what they were doing, and not only, you know, from the home front, but also on the front itself. That's something I think that needs to be preserved. I feel as if I'm a custodian of these items, that these items need to be passed down and preserved and continued to viewed as to what they stand for. It's interesting to see the Vietnam veterans and the World War II veterans come in, and they feel so honored also. You know, at first when I started this years ago doing the research on the state casualties, I was fearful that the Vietnam veterans would be, I don't know, not offended, but, you know, not attached to it, but they were very attached to it because those are their brothers that went and served, brothers and sisters that went and served, and they felt that it was the right thing to do. And by honoring the ones that died or gave their lives for this country, we're also honoring the ones that lived.